Hello, and welcome to another video! Today, I'm going to be ranking a bunch of Demon Slayer games, all of which I've played, and deciding which ones are the best out of all of them. This tier list is my objective opinion, so of course if you disagree, please be civil about it, though do feel free to leave your opinions in the comment section if you have something to say. Anyways, don't feel insulted if I insult one of your favorite games or make a game that you hate sound good, but because this is all just an opinion at the end of the day. Now, let's get right into it. First up is Rogue Demon, and if you watch my channel, it's going to be no surprise where I put this. Obvious S tier. Rogue Demon, out of every single Demon Slayer game, and every single PvP game I've played on Roblox, has the best combat out of all of them. If you strip everything to its bare bones, not looking at the moves or anything else like that, the base M1 combat and movement mechanics are the best that Roblox has at the moment. And we're not talking about games like Deep Woken or anything like that because they have different mechanics that aren't really comparable to something like this. But out of all the games where they operate under the same simple 5M1 combo system where M1s do stun and combo extend, Rogue Demon has the best one. Rogue Demon is the only game that I've played where M1s are actually viable for combo starting. Because in most games that I've played like GPO or Project Slayers, or Demon Fall too, while you can use M1s to combo start, it's kind of rough and you also do end up risking yourself getting hit by some move and then getting hit and getting punished for it. Even in games like ABA, moves are usually how people combo starts, so I don't know. It's really, a lot of those other games feel really rough when it comes to their M1 combat, but Rogue Demon's perfected it. And honestly, I feel like a large part of that has to do with how Rogue Demon did its dash system. Because dashes in Rogue Demon are fast, yet controlled, and they let you get behind someone's block or go chase someone who's running away pretty quickly and close the distance, which is really good. I haven't seen another game where I felt like the dashes are that smooth in a while. And also just the breathing bar mechanic is pretty good. Now, the movesets themselves in Rogue Demon are also very good too. They all serve their own purpose and are generally well balanced if you compare it to other games. Everything has its own ups and downs with different moves that can do different things, and it opens it up so that you can main literally anything you want. Rogue Demon is one of those few games where there's not a clear definitive meta that just stomps on anything that isn't meta. Because if you look at games like Demon Fall with sun breathing, those games have movesets that are meta. If you have them, it's just objectively better than someone who has something else that's kind of garbage. So Rogue Demon did something good with that makes it different from all of these other games in its combat. And also, it doesn't force you to grind for 20 hours just to get to the good part of the game. Which is what brings me to my next game, Project Slayers. This game I'm going to put in A tier, though I honestly mean more of an A- with that, but by the standard of Demon Slayer games, this one's kind of good. Project Slayers, the reason why it's not going in my favorites tier, even though it is a pretty good game visually, is because it's a bandit beater. I'm going to say it like that because that's the objective truth. Project Slayers is just a bandit beater. You go into the game, you literally beat up bandits as your first quest, and then you just move on from there killing the same NPCs over and over again. Whether they be in a cave, out in the open, out in some forest or something, it's all the same. Nothing ever changes with this game. It's literally just the same repetitive gameplay loop, and I don't understand why anyone would sink 20 hours into a game just to get to the good parts. Because that's my main pet peeve with games like Project Slayers. You have to sink in ridiculous amounts of time, about 20, 40, 68 hours or something like that, just to get to the good part of the game, which is the part where you can fight people normally and use your breathing styles to fight bosses or something. But at the start, you're just forced into a boring, monotonous gameplay loop that no one would want to do. And that's what I hate about Project Slayers, because if you didn't have that problem, I feel like I could actually like the game. But sadly, it does have that problem, and that's why it's not one of my favorites. Next up, Slayer Battlegrounds. Slayer Battlegrounds is a pretty decent game, actually, which is why I'm going to put it in B tier. Even though it's like a kind of small game and doesn't have a lot of content for, you know, obvious reasons, it's a small game. Of course, it's only going to have like 3 movesets, one and like a 4th one that's early access, but it's one of those games where you can just hop in, no matter if you're progressed or not, and just go in and destroy people. The reason why I don't put it on the same level as Rogue Demon, though, even though I actually do like messing around in it, is because the combat isn't really that, like, I don't know, I don't really like the combat that much. It's a little brain dead, there's some pretty dumb stuff you can do with it, and a lot of it boils down to mashing the same moves over and over again until someone dies. But, hey, it's kind of good for what it is. A brain dead game that you can just hop into and start demolishing people in. So, I give it a B tier, because it's not bad, it's pretty fun. Like, it's a genuine game that I recommend you just check out for some brain dead fun. Next up, Demon Fall. A minus tier along with Project Slayers, but I'd put it beneath Project Slayers, just because the game's kind of fallen off. At the time Demon Fall released, that game was revolutionary. It had a proper storyline, a lot of cool stuff, and damn, that game was actually really cool. But the more you went into it, the more the cracks started to show, and eventually I felt like I reached a point in the game where it just got boring. There was nothing much left to do. Like, I didn't want to, at that point it just became a bandit beater. The story was kind of like too crazy for me to do solo, and I didn't really have Discord at the time, so I couldn't really get someone to carry me in that, but the progression in Demon Fall at the end of the game is just so boring. Don't get me wrong, it is a pretty good game by Roblox Demon Slayer game standards, but I can't really call it fun because of just how convoluted the progression is. Like, it was pretty fun at the beginning. Like, you get to do a lot of cool stuff to get your breathing and fight a lot of different bosses and stuff, but later on it just like falls off and stops being fun. Alright, next up is Demon Slayer Midnight Sun. This one is going to get a B tier. I actually like this game a lot, progression-wise, and even though it's kind of like your generic RPG with combat that's not like other Demon Slayer games, it's actually more akin to Deep Woken combat, I actually found this one kind of fun. Because the progression wasn't that convoluted. I managed to get like a full breathing style and some good stuff, just like from playing a little bit of the game. Like, it only took me what, like 4 hours to get that far. It's not that convoluted of a progression system, and that's what I like. Like, you can get a lot of cool stuff and get like practically a max build pretty quickly. So that's pretty cool. Like, and the combat itself isn't bad either. It's fun fighting the NPCs in that game, mainly because like Deep Woken combat just fits well with NPCs, but also because like it was just kind of fun to just use all of your moves and like fight things, you know? It's a good game, in my opinion. Just not enough to stand next to Rogue Demon, Project Slayers, and Demon Fall, which I'd call like the big 3 of Roblox games. Or maybe Demon Fall's kind of fallen from there because it kind of fell off, but it did what it could. Next up, Demon Slayer RPG 2. The OG of Demon Slayer RPGs, which is what most people call it. That game's just also gonna get a B tier. It's basically your standard bandit beating Demon Slayer RPG, where you just like climb through the ranks by killing demons that randomly spawn around the map and just like grinding until you like get stronger. It's nothing revolutionary at all, it's just your standard RPG. But it's not that bad either. It was pretty fun when it came out for a time, and though I've kind of forgotten a lot about it because it's been so long, I do definitely remember it being pretty fun at the time. So, it gets a B tier. It's not bad. Next up, Weak Legacy. I'm gonna feel a little bad about this placement, but being honest, it's D tier. It's pretty bad. Weak Legacy is a game that honestly just has a lot of issues. One thing that's the main problem with the game is the terrible combat. Everything in that game feels like you're fighting at 500 ping. Like, it's all so delayed and so janky that it just barely works out at all. I don't really get the games, like why the game is so rough, honestly. And I definitely feel like it could be a lot better if they tried to make it better. But, I don't know. Well, actually no, I'm being harsh there. The developer is one guy, so I can't really give him too much hate for not having a great game, but at the same time, being completely honest. Like, giving an honest subjective rating, the game needs a lot of work. Next up, Slayers Unleashed. Mid. The game is definitely pretty bad compared to every single game above it. Like, there's two things that are good about that game, which is the effects and the animations, and I guess, well, animations and cutscenes, which cutscenes fall under animation. The game's combat is kind of mid. It's basically like watered down GPO in a way. You know, you have your old up tilt, down slam, stuff that's just kind of generic, you know? And then the actual moves themselves are just kind of like your standard little combos and stuff. It's nothing revolutionary at all, but it's also like a really tedious bandit beater too, which I don't like. So yeah, I got some problems with this game. It's definitely not my favorite, and it's probably not going to be my favorite for a long while. Next up, and the final one, Demon Slayer Legacy. It's garbage. You probably don't even know what this game is because it's been so long since it last took a place, but Demon Slayer Legacy is basically a game that was supposed to kind of be the Shinda life of Demon Slayer. And if you're wondering if it succeeded with that, it didn't. It failed miserably. The game's only saving grace was its cutscenes, and even then there are like 2 of those. And though those cutscenes were cool, it was very bad overall, just how the game was. Like, oh my god, the combat was terrible. Progressing was terrible. Moving around the map, I actually got soft locked at one part because the developers didn't add like a way to actually get up to where it's supposed to go. And then the storyline too is just garbage. Like, they have you start up just like beating up slimes, literally. And it's a Demon Slayer game. You know, like they could have just like taken some like R6 model and like given it some like demon texture or some dumb thing, or like made it a bandit by giving it like some random clothes off the Roblox catalog. But no, they take slimes and boars and put them in a Demon Slayer game. Like, why? It's just a bad idea. Yeah, this game was not good, so it deserves a place at F as the only actual garbage game out there. Now, this is the whole tier list. To help clarify things a little bit, I'm kind of a person who has a pet peeve against bandit beaters because I do not like them. Because, like, as I said before, if you have to spend 5,000 hours to get to a good part of a game, then why should anyone play the game in the first place? A game should be played for fun, not to for fun. Games are made to be fun. So if you have to mindlessly do something that isn't fun for 5,000 hours just so you can do something that is fun, your game kind of sucks, I'm not gonna lie. So with that notion, I'm kind of biased towards games like Rogue Demon and Slayer Battlegrounds, and I guess Demon Slayer Midnight Sun because their progression isn't convoluted at all. And even though ranked Project Slayers and Demonfall kind of highly, just know that if Demon Slayer, if I was judging them by how fun they were and not how good they were quality wise, those games would probably be getting a mid tier. But because they're both really revolutionary games that kind of did something new with the bandit beater genre in a way, or at least kind of did it better than most games, they get a good rating. They get a good placement. But I don't like Project Slayers and I don't like Demonfall that much, so yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed watching, consider liking and subscribing for more content just like this. As always, I'm Noob Eternally, and I will see you next time in another video. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.